I'm going to take my round glass brush and I'm going to put a base coat, just what we're going to call a wet coat, because we're going to work with it while it's still wet.
Which brown is that?
This is the brown that we base coated with to start with.
That's
the brown mix.
Okay.
Now this time you won't have your wattle and beaks done, but I did a demo on this one, so we get this on here, and then I'm going to take my grainer or rake and I'm going to double load with our light brown mix and our base coat mix. I'm going to scrunch on the palette, and then I'm just going to come in here, and you should start from the bottom. That'll help them look like they're layered. Give it a scrunch, and I'm just going to come through and loosely scratch in these highlight feathers. You're going to notice a little contrast with our lighter mix, not tons. Then we're going to take our highlight mix and I'm going to give it a scrunch. And this guy has more of the highlight coming from the outer edges and working our way inwards. So you can add as much as you'd like of that. Remember to scrunch. That's going to splay open my bristles. So we want to bring those from the side, keeping it brighter. You can bring them right off the edge. If you feel like you'd rather pull those off the edge to get them a little wispier, that works too. And we're going to do the same thing up on the head, but we want to work with this while it's wet so that the colors kind of blend in. So I'm going to come up this other side again. I'm going to double load and bring that light from the outer edge in. Bring my scrunch. The outer edge gets the lightest, and I just work my way inward. And of course we have the light just a bit at the bottom. It's not tons. It's more along the outer side. We'll pull some more later with our liner to make some defined ones if you like. It all depends on how wispy it is and how much of your dark ends up showing out of the outer edges. So that's the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the top, and again you're going to pull the direction that they go. So it's going to be a base coat if you want to see that one, or if you've got it. It's again base coated with our main color so that we're able to work with it while it's wet. If you turn your piece, if it's more comfortable for you to be doing this way, then turn your photo that way as well. So I've done that. I'm going to take double load of our base coat color and our light brown, and that's the one that you see a little contrast but not a lot. So I would come and wisp my way in, wipe the brush, and pick up our highlight color. And this is where the light comes. And you can, like I say, I can wisp a little bit off the edge, or we could come back after with the liner if you prefer. But we want this edge up here to be quite light. So he's got these highlights. And you'll see they're around his eye, they're under his cheek, but it's quite bright at the outer edge. I'll continue working that till I get it nice and bright. I'm, of course, hoping not to get on my eyes, but they're base coated so that we have them. We don't have to transfer them or find them or anything. That's why they're there. And we'll come in after with a liner and bring in some defined ones. When you bring in with the liner afterwards, you're not going to have wet paint underneath. So they will stay the bright. So again, I can pull in a few more coming from the outer edge down here. But remember, scrunch so that we can get wispy. And you can make, you see how he's coming around and he's getting that chickeny look. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do with him. We're going to add some highlight and lighter hair. I'll turn them. I'm picking up with my liner my light highlight color, and I'll pull some fine ones from the edge. Now, because the paint is no longer wet, this doesn't blend in. So we will end up with the highlight color showing stronger. You can come through and pull a few all the way along. You can pull a couple off the edge and just all the way through and have a few. You see how I'll work my way in a little bit? I don't want to make just a straight line down the edge, but I do want to brighten the outer edge more. So with your liner, if you pull off at the very edge, you'll get, swirly. Yeah, they'll get nice and fine. So that works to pull those off the edge. And we're going to do a little bit of shading in here as well. So we'll pull all these little highlight ones in. You can make them nice and strong. After we shade, you might want to come back and brighten up a couple. It's totally whatever your chicken desires. Absolutely none are the same. I've got 2 or 3 on the go here, and none look the same. This chicken's going to be done the same way as the other chicken. So I can do it a little bit faster by doing basically the whole half of the chicken down this side. He's a little bit shaggy. She is a little bit shaggier because you're going to see that she has, I'm double loading in the mixes, scrunching my brush, and I'm going to turn it and pull from the outer edge inwards. And like I say, she's a bit shaggier. So she has a little bit longer strokes. Again, start from the bottom, work your way up, overlap. Over here, we're going to do the same thing. Our mix is lighter, but it's not a super strong contrast. So once we have these in here, all wisped in, we are going to pick up a little bit of the lightened light brown, the one with the warm white in it. And I'm going to come back in and add a few little wispy highlights. We'll do some with our liner after as well. So my brush is still double loaded, scrunched, and I'll come back in and add some of these. Again, like I say, she's more shaggy, so she has a little bit longer strokes coming in, but we still want them to be overlapped. And the same thing up on the top. And we will come back after with a liner and pull in a few. She's got a little tuft of hair at the top. I'm going to pick up on my liner, I'm picking up some of the dark. Now this is optional if you want her to have this little ponytail type looking thing. I think it's cute. And I'll just wisp that in with the liner. And again, I haven't done this side yet, but I just wanted to see how I can come back with the liner, and that always defines the little highlight lines. We'll clean up his eyes. There are going to be eyelashes added in after we do the eyes, and that comes up on top of these and really shows them off cute. All right, so I'll bring in a few more little shaggy lines along the bottom and repeat for the other side. I'm going to put a wet coat of the white, just like he's going to be done just like the other guys. We want to have that nice wet coat to blend our colors into it. We're going to double load our brush, again our grainer or rake, and I'm not worried about getting it on my wattle because that is done on top after. We can clean up those edges. So I'm just going to do the half a chicken like I did on the last one. I'm going to double load my grainer or rake in gray and in white. And I'm going to scrunch on my palette, and I'm going to scratch in to the wet paint. I want the gray next to the wattle. And we'll just come down to the bottom and work our way up. Once we end up with these white and gray, I'll call them clusters of feathers, when we come back in afterwards and we add, I'll pull them this way so I can have them under the camera, I think. When we come back with our liner and pull in fine little white ones, it really defines it. This becomes almost like shadows behind. Now I haven't wet coat this side over here, so I'll finish on here. So once we've got it all like that, and we would like it to dry a bit, but I just want you to see how when I bring, I can pull a few off the edge because we want them wispy. But when I pull little white lines up in here, do you see how they will stand out now? So those feathers raise up, and what we did previously becomes background shadows. I've mixed a little bit of gray into, or a little brown, the bittersweet mix, into my gray to get it a dirty gray. And I'm going to be shading. I've done the other side along the wattle, next to the beak, walk it out, and next to the eye. Now I'll take my liner and I'll bring in a few fine lines that will define and soften up our shading. All right. We're going to take our round and we are going to wet coat a section at a time. Meaning the top of the wattle. Yeah, we're going to do it like so. We're going to do the top of his head, like we did like the body and things. I'll do this section separately. And we're going to follow our picture. So our brush is loaded in the base coat color. I'm going to pick up a little bit of brown on the side of it. And keeping the brown, now this is on the brown, on the black chicken. They're all different. So you're going to follow your picture. Yeah, so I've picked up brown on my base coat. So it's double loaded on the round. Then I'll move up, keeping that brown facing the same direction. And then I'll do this last section. So we've got brown to the left. I'm going to clean my brush, can just wipe even, pick up my base mix again, and now I've mixed beige and my base coat mix. This is going to become my highlight color. It's kind of like a soft clay, and I'm going to go along and put that on the opposite side to our dark. And again, you'll follow your picture because, of course, I flip them around on different chickens. And so you can blend that in as much as you'd like if you want to work at it a bit more. But because it's wet, it goes in nice and soft and gives us that bit of a highlight. Then we're going to take our liner. This is, you can do all of them and come back and add this, but I just wanted to get it all in the video for you. I've picked up some of the highlight mix and some white to brighten it up a bit. And this, I'll add a little highlight comma in here. This, if it was dry, it would stay a little popped up for you. So I'll do that to all the sections. You can see that in the video, or pardon me, on your picture. All right, so we're going to go ahead, then I'll do these little ones and I'll do the big wattles at the bottom. And of course, you're following your photo, so you're going to see that the brown is to the inside on the wattles. But you're going to use your round and you're going to double load for that. We're going to wet coat the beak, and this is where we get to kind of clean it up. I haven't done the wattle on this one yet. I just saw that. So I'm going to wet coat my beak like we've done with everything else. And I'm going to take my brush that's loaded in the base coat color and side load into the brown. Blend on the palette. And so you're really flattening. You see how it flattens the round brush? I'm going to take and I'm going to come along the outer edge and blend the brown inwards. Flip my brush around and I'll come back over here on this side. There's always enough fresh brown on that other side of the brush to be able to work that in. So we blend that like so. Now I'll clean my brush and I'm going to reload in the Dijon again. And now I'm going to side load into my light mix, which is Dijon and warm white. And I'm going to come along the bottom of the beak, same way we did up top, along the sides. And we're going to just kind of lightly pull and blend that upwards. I'm going to just streak that upwards. And then when we're done, now, of course, like anything, it would be a little better to be drier, but for the sake of video, we'll come along with our highlight mix and our liner and basically trim. And you can bring a little line up the middle. The little nostrils are brown. And that's the nose. I'm going to come in here and add more of my fine lines on my chicken. I want to, the little white feathers before I do my eyes. I've cleaned up my eyes so that they're nice and round again and I don't have everything all over them. But what I want to do is come in here and pull in some white lines. Now, you're not necessarily going to see too much of these. They just come back and cut into our shading a bit that we've put there, so that the shading kind of filters down into the feathers. I'll pull a few from the outer edge into that shading a bit. Now I've already done some, but once you clean up your eyes, you're able to come in here and pull in a few more. And on the body, we've talked about how if there isn't enough gray underneath to start with, you won't notice these white fine feathers on top. So you need to have enough of where we scrunched our brush with the white and gray and came in and added that depth. That was to put a background basically for these little tiny white strands of feathers. And when we pull our eyelashes, they will go out on top of these ones here. Now, on our eyes, we're going to go with, and all of the eyes are done the same way. They're just the colors that are listed. So I'm going to take and I'm going to pull in fresh foliage. And those are 2 commas on the outer edges. And then we take fine commas and come inside and add a dot. So it's just another dot and a fine little comma. Now if you find them a bit heavy, you just touch with your finger and that'll just calm them down a little tiny bit. We're going to pull in her eyelashes. So I like to kind of come along the top of the eye and out. Have her little floozy look, and a lot of times I'll turn it so that I'm pulling towards myself to do the other eye. I can never get 2 eyes the same, but I don't think we do either. So there's our little floozy look that we have on her. And then I'll clean up my glass by going along and get anything that I've got over the edge. You can use your fingernail, you can use one of the little X-Acto knife pens. We've used all kinds. So I would just come in here and remove that. If I wanted to take back or, you know, make her look a little finer in some areas, I can just remove a little bit out. I do that all the time. It's her little facelift. So we go through and we clean up what we have there, and that's the little chicken. Now we're going to add little fine lines on the other chickens too. On the other chickens, we'll use the highlight color that we use, the lightest color, and that's what we'll pull in for those fine lines. I'm adding a few of the fine lines. I thought I'd bring that in here and show you. This is with the highlight color. So we've got that nice and light. Even a lot of the beige would be fine to come in on this one. This is chicken number 2. So you see I'll come in from the outer edge. I want them brighter. That one we made brighter at the outer edge to start with. So I'll come in and add those little fine lines. And I'll bring a few fine ones just back all the way, but not a bunch in an area. So they just kind of lightly come back towards this, kind of into where our shading is, but not right to the very edge. And we'll pull a few, just ending them. And you see that I had done them around the eyes and put in her eyelashes. But I could use a little more here. But you see, bringing them from the outer edge and leaving that dark that we shaded right next to the eye really adds to the features on her little face. Just pull in those light lines, and it's stronger around the outer edge. I'm looking at the chicken right now and I'm thinking, and I bet I should go back with all of them, but it's looking like I could take a little bit of even just brown. I'm going to put that out. I'm going to take a little bit of brown and I'm going to go in and I'm going to shade just a bit of brown on top of the wattles, just so it sets them down under the beak a bit. I could do that right here too. I'm just using brown. I'm not mixing with anything. So if I just come down there, there. Now I'm using brown on this, and I would recommend it on all of them. Even though brown was the shading on this bird, we can still use brown to shade on the top of the wattles on all of the chickens under their beak. I think it's a great idea. I probably did it before.